second. Yeah. So in this video, I want to cover a couple more examples using the technique that I covered in the last video. And when you get used to this goes very, very quickly, okay? It doesn't take very much work at all. So the first example I want to do is we're going to look at the line y equals negative 2/3 x minus 2. So what I'm going to note from this is my slope is negative 2/3. My y-intercept is 0, negative 2. So I'm going to start off by writing down 0, negative 2. That's going to be our first point. And now what I want to do is I want to take the bottom of my slope, add it to x. So I'm going to do plus 3 right here. Take the top of my slope, add it to y. Now since that is negative, we're going to actually be subtracting. We're going to be doing minus 2. I usually keep the negative on the top, okay? When I combine these guys, 0 plus 3 is going to give me 3. Negative 2 minus 2 is going to give me negative 4. That's what I need to graph. So when I go over here to graph it, we're going to start off at 0, negative 2, which is right here. We're going to go over to 3 and down to negative 4, which is right here. And that would be the line for that graph. Now one thing I want to point out to you as you're doing this, if you're paying attention, your slope here is negative. And if you've got a negative slope, then your line should be going down like this. So that's one thing that you can use to make sure that you've graphed it correctly. Because if you have a negative slope, you should have a line that's going down. Now, in this case, our equation is y equals 4x minus 3. Now, my main problem here is that I don't have like a denominator on the front of my x. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put 1 there. Okay, I'm going to write that 4 over 1. And then I identify my y-intercept. My y-intercept here is going to be 0, negative 3. So remember, you're always going to use a 0 for your x value and your y-intercept. Okay? So since my slope is 4 over 1, I want to add 1 to the x-coordinate. I want to add 4 to my y-coordinate. And you want to make sure that you pay attention to your signs. Those sign errors are not going to go away. It's going to be something that's you're going to have to focus on for the rest of your career. So my new point is going to be at 0 plus 1 is going to give me 1, and negative 3 plus 4 is going to give me 1 as well. It's going to be positive 1 because the 4 is bigger here. So when we go to graph this guy, it's just a matter of plotting our 2 points. So I'm going to start off at 0, negative 3, which would be right there on my graph. And then my next point is 1, 1. So I'm going to go 1, 1 right there. And my line looks that. I'm going to check myself because I'm going to look at my slope. My slope here is positive, so I should have a positive slope on my line, which means it should be going up like that. And it is. So I can be pretty confident here that I've done the line correctly. The last example I want to do is probably the most basic example because I don't have a coefficient in front of my x at all. And what I want to emphasize here is I want you to remember if there's no coefficient in front of your x, in front of your variable, there's an understood 1 there. So I'm going to write that 1 there so it's clear to me. And since I want a fraction for my slope, so I can have a bottom to add to my x and a top to add my y, I'm going to write that as 1 over 1. So in this case, my b term, my constant term, is 1. And my y-intercept is going to be at 0, 1. So again, that x value for your y-intercept is always going to be 0. Okay? And your y value is going to be whatever that constant is. Now my slope is 1 over 1. So I want to add 1 to the bottom, from the bottom to the x. I want to add 1 from the top to the y. And that's going to give me the point 1, 2. So those are my 2 points for my graph. And now all I have to do is graph them. So my first point is going to start here at 0, 1. My second point is going to be at 1, 2. and I draw my line through those 2 points. And I quickly check, make sure, you see my slope, if my slope is okay, my slope is 1, it's positive, so it should be going up. So this is going to be the graph of our line. So in the next video, I'm going to show you some special cases that we have to pay extra careful attention to because they're weird. And 90% of the time, this is going to work. But if this doesn't work, if you don't have the ingredients necessary to make this work, you're going to see how to handle that in the next video.